Okay. Recording. Welcome everybody to the Town of Bluff Planning and Zoning Commission regular meeting. Today is Wednesday, May 1st. Happy May Day, everybody. 2024. Recording. We're meeting virtually. Welcome everybody to the Town of Bluff Planning and Zoning Commission regular meeting. Today is Wednesday. This is Amanda Podmore, Chair.
Marcia Haydenfeld.
Ed Dobson.
Brian Whitney.
Malia Collins.
Thank you, commissioners. And from Town Council?
Luann Hook.
Awesome. And then welcome Kathleen and Craig. Thank you for being here. Okay, so we have a somewhat easy breezy agenda today. We'll start if there's any public that want to make a up to 3-minute comment. Okay, I'll go ahead and close public comment. Thank you. And we'll start with then approval of meeting minutes from our April 17th meeting. So let me share my screen. Actually, I don't know if I saw any comments in here.
It looks like Marcia made one on the second page.
Okay, change the item 5 to approval of site plan application. That looks good. Any other changes to these?
No,
I
move to. Go ahead, Marcia. You got it.
No, you got it. You. I make a motion to approve the minutes of April 17th, 2024 as amended.
Second.
Yay.
Any discussion? All right, all in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Meeting minutes are approved. Thank you. Next up on our agenda, old business is update from Town Council. And if you'll just excuse me, I'm going to get my planning and zoning notebook. But you can go ahead and start, Luann.
Okay, great. Yes, so we just had one meeting since the last time that I gave you an update. It was on April 23rd. We do have a work session tomorrow, and then the first regular meeting in May is May 7th. So I did update them on the Hanson and Hanson presentation that they came and asked you those questions and whatnot. I did do that subdivision ordinance update to the Town Council. And on the work session tomorrow, the sign ordinance will be finalized, and then it will be on the agenda to vote on May 7th. And then Britt has been going to the Bears Ears management plan meetings, and he did have a report on the airport that it can be run commercially. You know, that's a big old document, but that was one thing that he said popped up in the section of permits for recreation and that kind of thing. It would require permits for certain levels of use, but otherwise it seemed like it was pretty open to what we've been doing and what could happen out there. And then back to the work session again. There's one of the things on it tomorrow is the capital improvements plan. And then we'll have that as part of the budget and all of the rest of the planning that goes on here this next little bit. And it's at 1:00 tomorrow, in case anybody wants to be there. And I am, but it will be in person and online. But that's all I had for this last little stretch. Does anybody have any questions? All righty.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, thanks, Luann, and thanks for moving forward with the sign ordinance. We appreciate that. Okay, so item 2 is status. Sorry, I put a little redundancy in my item. Status update on updating the planning and zoning forms on the website. It's the Department of Redundancy Department. So I emailed the forms we have completed to Erin, and I just pinged her again today just as a gentle reminder to update the forms on the website. They're not up there quite yet. And then I've asked her for the the Word files of the site plan application, which you'll remember we approved last time, but I need to make a tiny revision. So it'd be easier to do in Word. And then I've asked her for the site plan. No, not site plan, the land use clearance form. So I don't really have an update beyond that. Any questions or thoughts from people? Marcia, go ahead.
Just where we stand, are we missing any? The only ones I understand us to be waiting on are the LUC forms and those that go with it with regard to our next steps. Is that correct? And the subdivision one for the new subdivision to come.
Yes, subdivision. So here's our list of forms. At the bottom is all the ones we've completed. So I'll just note, I need to make the change of use form. So that's still pending on me. I'll just make a note. Then subdivision, we're waiting. Site plan, I'll finish as soon as I get that. Sign permit, we will update once the sign ordinance passes. And then we're working on the building flow chart, and then the land use clearance form is sort of next. So I kind of feel like we know what we want all the forms to say. We're just sort of waiting on a couple different things to fall in place. Does that make sense?
Yeah, for sure.
Yes.
So, because I don't, the only one we might need to discuss maybe in a work session would be the sign application form once we see the final sign ordinance. So I'll just maybe make a note of that. Sign.
It makes sense that we may have some adjustments to make once the final sign ordinance is written.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, exactly. Any other thoughts or questions on this item?
No, I think we're at a good point.
Okay.
Thanks for all your hard work.
Yeah, apologies, I'm just a little behind, but I'll keep plugging away.
No, it's all good.
Okay. So then, Brian, go ahead.
Well, I meant to send an emoji
Oh.
praising you. Instead, I pressed the other hand button.
All good. All good.
Sorry.
Okay. Item 3, update on the land use clearance requirement and the 200 square foot requirement. So you all should have received the forwarded email from Chris McEnany, which had really good news, which is that the town can administratively interpret the ordinance to say that a land use clearance is not required for something, say, smaller than 200 square feet, as long as X, Y, and Z are being met. So I have gone ahead and kind of updated that in that form that we're working on, but I think it would be good for us to put this to motion so that we can like Aaron, who is our town manager and the administrator, to help us with that, or just to make it official. Marcia, go ahead.
No, I'm really glad that we're going to get that sentence cleared up, that under 200 square feet. No, however, does it not fall under the fact that we're still correcting so much that we don't need it corrected in today's sentence? We need it corrected in the overall thing when we're done. In other words, we don't have to call Aaron yet to correct that sentence until we're correcting the whole thing. I'm just looking at expediency.
What do you mean by the whole thing?
The LUC clear whether or not you need an LUC is still in contention as we're writing out our form, like the flow chart and things like that. Since we're still doing that, is it necessary to have Aaron fix something right now, or can it wait while we correct the whole picture?
Okay, I see what you're saying. I guess my a clarification on what I meant was that if we are ready to recommend this change, I say when we're ready to do so, we make a motion just so that we have that on the record. we don't necessarily need to say, that doesn't mean Aaron has to go and fix something right now. It just means that direction is in place going forward.
Okay, so you would like perhaps a motion today straightening that out, and then we'll use that in our corrections later, in our updating later?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, if we're ready to begin interpreting our ordinance in such a way, I personally think it's helpful. But if we want to wait,
I don't care. I just wanted to know what we were doing. I can make a motion that states we clarify in both our, well, oh, wait, before I say that then, does that mean a change in our ordinance or just a change in the LUC forms? In other words, where do we say the wrong thing? And if so, changing an ordinance takes more.
Yeah, so that's where Chris said we don't need to change the ordinance at this point. We can have an administrative interpretation of our ordinance. He said if we are updating our ordinance in the future, it's a change that we should make in it.
In that case, my motion would reflect that any LUC forms and charts reflect the notion of not needing an LUC for buildings and or remodels of anything smaller than 200 feet. 200 feet or smaller. Is that what we're looking for?
I guess I would amend it to say, well, no,
I mean, maybe we should discuss this for another second.
They still might need a building permit, but you're just saying they don't need a land use. No, maybe we should amend it to say unless they require a building permit.
Okay, in that case, I'm not sure I'm comfortable with a motion at this moment, because that's where we're also stuck. When do you need the building permit part from whoever's going to be issuing building permits in the near future? Because I chatted with Ann today, who's still working with Kristen and Mac and others, trying to figure this all out. Just, nothing's been decided, I guess is what I'm saying. So perhaps this motion needs to wait a minute.
Yeah.
So
maybe we refine the text over email too. Malia, go ahead.
Yeah, and with our next with our next order of business being the working on the LUC business permit chart or building permit chart, it might be a good time to come up with the wording for this in this next line.
agreed.
That sounds good. Should we move on to item 4 then?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay. Item 4 is working on our land use clearance building permit chart. So let me share that screen. I confess I did a little work before the call. So did Malia. So apologies if you haven't seen the new work.
It's looking great.
How do I present this? Is that big enough for you?
You should be able to just hit slideshow at the top and it should present.
Oh, I had it hiding. That's why.
And I can make any edits so that you can keep on slideshow.
Okay. So I changed it so that the first slide talks about when an LUC and building permit is required, when just an LUC is required, when just a building permit is required. The second page now has when no building permit and no land use clearance are required. And then I added change of property use. So we'll go over that. And then the last slide, this was in the first draft of the act plan. And it's a chart of all of our different zones and what's allowed in them. And I think it's tremendously beautiful and helpful. So I just put it in here as a pin that I think we should make this for ourselves and for the public. So
Amanda, that looks great and answers a lot of what Chris McEnany said, which is a handout telling people what they need. So this is getting much more succinct,
Yeah.
including
Ooh,
that.
nice word.
Yeah. So, and this is like a screenshot, so I think I would need to remake it.
Can we just borrow it from them and not remake it? Who has it? Is there any reason we couldn't just borrow it?
I guess I would still want to ask permission since it was in a version they didn't make public.
Oh,
They
that's what I
didn't-
mean. Yeah, I mean, but I wouldn't mean just take. I mean, why don't we just ask them if we can grab that
Yeah.
from them? It's a really well presented
I'll
graphic.
ask Molly. Cool. Okay, so let me go back to the first slide. So I tried to clean up the text, like standardize the kind of grammar and formatting of it. So I'll just start reviewing it by bullet if that's okay. So it says a land use clearance and building permit is required is required prior to commencing construction for any lot to, and then we list develop it, perform new construction, move or situate a mobile, manufactured, or pre-built home onto a lot, install permanently affixed prefabricated dwellings or habitable buildings. So those might be a little bit similar.
Are those redundant?
Yeah.
Move, situate, or install,
Mm-hmm.
and then put mobile, manufactured, permanently affixed, prefabricated, that kind of thing. So it's move, situate, or install become one, and then list all those things.
Yeah. And I think we put permanently affixed at the beginning of like move, situate, or install a permanently affixed, then begin the list.
Right.
Are you good making that change, Malia? It may not. Let me see.
You're muted.
Yes. Thank you. If you pull out of presenting and then bring it back up, you should
Sweet.
see the addition change.
Thank you.
Thanks, Marcia.
Okay. So then next was install a foundation for a new footprint. And then in any addition or remodel that is structural in nature or is enclosed by more than 50%. Period. Then based on what we're considering as a new administrative interpretation, I added all new construction of any structure of more than 200 square feet, or square footprint.
Can that get folded into the perform new construction on the top?
Oh yeah.
We'll
All
just
new-
say like any perform any
good
new
point.
construction. Yeah.
Of more than 200 square feet. Yep.
Good call.
And then don't forget, Malia, to take out install permanently affixed. Oh, you did, and it.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, she's making changes. There we go.
Oh yeah.
So then
Okay.
does that all look good to folks?
Yeah, except two typos. Perform new construction of is a typo, and isn't pre-built either one word or hyphen.
It's one or the other, yeah.
Yeah, well, I don't care which, but it's just.
And I think we can do a copy edit of this too.
It allows me to do both of them. So I'll put a hyphen and we'll see how we like it.
Okay. Well, so one more then. Okay. Develop it, perform new construction of, move, situate, or install a foundation. And for any addition or remodel that is structural in nature or it is enclosed by that didn't come out right. And for any addition or remodel that is structural in nature or it is enclosed by more than 50%. That's the one referring to porches and decks and stuff. So that didn't come out quite as clearly, I think, that last one. So it's, you're going to develop it, perform new construction, move, situate, install, and how about,
Remodel or add on.
yeah, that structural remodel or addition, not including porches unless enclosed, or, in other words, we didn't tell them what's enclosed means. See how that got confusing, I think. Just that sentence doesn't.
Maybe we should just add a new bullet about porches since people might ask.
Yeah, take off put porches or decks unless or wait a minute.
Sorry.
They don't need just a porch, right? We've said that. So we need to say for enclosed how do we say that?
We are speaking of building a space with a porch. That's what we're trying to say.
Remember what started it was Andrea asked if she, Andy said, do I need a LUC to put a porch on the front of that thing? And we said, no, porches are not included unless it's like an enclosed, so because then it becomes an addition, I guess, is the difference or something. So the wording of that one is just there.
Or would this be where we would have some clause about needing electric or plumbing? If your porch needs electric or if it needs plumbing.
Well, no,
then
doesn't that
you
go
need this.
down? Wasn't that something we talked about? See, it's under building permit only, Malia, I think.
Right.
So, wait, I like what, Amanda, did you just do that?
Yeah.
Okay, so now you said for a structural remodel or addition, for a porch that is structural in nature or enclosed by more than 50%. But a porch is structural if you put some piling there, I'll just leave it for a minute. We can go back and fix that one. So LUC and building permit required to develop it, perform new construction of more than 200 square footprint, I can't talk, move, situate, or install a permanently affixed prefabricated dwelling, habitable building, mobile, manufactured, or pre-built home onto lot, install a foundation for a structural remodel or addition, and for a porch that is structural in nature or enclosed by more than 50%. Why don't we leave that for a minute and see if we need to come back to that wording? That's better. That was good.
Can I make one unnecessary suggestion though? That I thought of when you were reading that out loud, is that if you change the perform new construction of more than 200 square foot footprint, if you say perform new construction of like a footprint larger than 200 square feet, it wouldn't have foot in a row. Which I think is foot is just kind of, it's weird.
What you mean? You're telling me it wasn't me that couldn't read?
No, it was not you. I read it again in my head, and I was like, "Yeah, footprint sounds weird."
Thank you, Brian. You saved.
I that same thing happened in my head.
Nice. Good catch, Amanda.
Yeah, well, Malia, great catch on you. Malia caught that our ordinance does say this is for less than 2,000 square feet. If you're doing more than 2,000 square feet, you need to do a site plan.
All right, yeah.
So
that's true.
So then could we just say between 200 square feet and 2,000?
yes.
Yep. Yeah, exactly.
Well,
well, maybe you should be specific that it's a footprint though.
Yeah, I kind of like the larger than and less than. not
Okay.
between, because between is like, wait, does that mean 199? Does that, it just, it's, yeah.
True. Okay. So 201 to 1999. I'm glad we're all here.
Should we add a bullet going again to what Malia reminded us that this is for commercial single family dwelling and duplex?
Yeah, because it's existing commercial or residential structure.
So but that's up above then. LUC is required as a condition for obtaining and prior to the issuance of a building permit, whether residential, commercial, or, so it's up there that we say that, right? Because these apply to all of that. Is that not true?
Yeah, but it's residential of duplex or single family. It's not like apartment, unfortunately.
Okay, LUC is required as a condition for obtaining and prior to the issuance of a building permit, residential and commercial, prior to commencing construction for any lot to develop it, perform new, move, install, structural, and porch, right? So what are you saying? Oh, Amanda, you're saying it's not for, if someone's going to do an apartment complex, they're going to read this and call us, because there's, they're going to have to look, and maybe actually, maybe that answer comes with the, please note where your request falls in our zoning chart. You know what I mean? That helps answer some of those questions. I don't know. We'll have to see. Yeah. See, now we're getting
That's just referencing that same ordinance, just including all of that info.
Yeah. Let's leave it for now.
Right.
You can just look over a couple more things and then review it once again before the next meeting.
Okay.
So yeah, I did do a note down here. Construction's subject to inspections. Provisions are outlined in the land use application form. Are we good to move on to maybe this land use clearance one?
Yeah,
sure.
Okay.
Let's go through as much as we can.
Yeah. I was just, I'm assuming we will publish this helpful handout for the public before our RV ordinance is passed. And I don't think we are currently asking for a LUC for moving an RV onto a lot. I think we do want to, but do we want to require one for tiny house?
It's already in there. It's move, situate, or install a permanently affixed prefabricated dwelling. So if they bring a tiny home onto the land and start hooking it up to stuff and putting it, then they need an LUC to do so. So,
yeah.
But maybe the only is the important part. So,
I just don't think
is that a square foot? Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, that could be a square foot thing. Yeah.
Oh, thanks.
I just don't think we have the ordinance to back this whole bullet up yet.
Oh.
Correct.
Well, but don't we say in our existing code that if you're putting something on your land, it needs to meet setbacks and, safety or utility easement requirements and stuff? Doesn't that?
Yeah.
Well, that's also what Chris had mentioned, that
what did he say? Because if you want to,
You still have to be advised of the exemption, but note that they are still obligated to comply with construction codes, adhere to setbacks and height rules, adhere to zoning use rules, and not engage in unauthorized dwelling use, and not to trespass on other parcels, etc.
so does that then mean, is Chris telling us no LUC is necessary and you go put it there? And how do we know you've met those setbacks and met those requirements? Now I'm confused again.
We don't. I mean, that's what we're trying. I
Right.
think we're trying to offer that option to the public. Like, if you want to build a chicken coop, we're not like requiring a $200 fee and verification that you're meeting setbacks, but we're saying that you are required to meet them.
Okay, so how do we find out if they've got the setbacks? I
So
think
basically, it's the honor system.
sure it is, and that's fine too. It's just okay. Then we have
Yeah. And it can be someone could likely take that person to court if they were not complying with our ordinances. But yeah, I think maybe I'll just highlight all this in yellow and we think about it, because I don't think it makes sense to have in there, but I could just be tired.
Yeah, I agree. It's very confusing because it does say it above that you're going to need an LUC to put it there for good, or, put it on your land. But below we're saying, you need it, but we don't want you to have to do it and pay for it.
Yeah.
Okay.
So why don't folks review this little box, review the building permit one. I just kind of cleaned that up. My one question was, I don't know if the county requires a building permit for a roof, so I was going to call the county unless somebody knows.
I don't.
I do not.
Does that mean like replacing a roof?
It says installation of a foundation or roof for an existing structure. Yes, it'd be a replacement.
Okay.
Yeah. Do you know the answer to that, Brian?
I mean, my assumption is that if it's a replacement, I don't believe you have to have a pound. I don't believe you have to have a building permit to replace like roofing material, but installation of a new roof or any like structural change of a roof is a different case, is my understanding. But
Okay.
I think if like you're replacing like asphalt shingles, you don't think you need a building permit for that.
Yeah. Okay. I'll call, verify. I'm already note about that. Okay, then on this slide, just so I'll start with the easy one. I added change of property use. So assuming we want it on this sort of form, I feel like it's good to let people know. We'll just say, please fill out a change of use request form. An LUC and building permit may be required, and a business license and or change to an existing business license may be required. Folks want to think on that?
Yeah. So a thought back to our first slide of the LUC only. Would we be able to get a different form or something with the change of property use form that would be for something smaller than 200 so that we can, with a different fee or something, so that we then don't have to, I don't know. We don't have to talk about this right now. We can continue pondering, but just curious, because it is a $200 fee, is there basically something else that we could call it, or something for those smaller structures, just for peace of mind for neighbors that now, since the town didn't enforce or didn't require my neighbor to get an LUC on their chicken coop that is now 100 square foot of it is onto my property. something different that would be
So-
less expensive.
The only thing, Malia, that I would advise to that was that when we asked the town about fees for planning and zoning forms and stuff, they were pretty not adamant, but they were enforcing the idea that it costs them the same to put through virtually any of these forms. In other words, we said $200, and they said, yeah, because by the time Erin reads it and forms it and does it and send it, whatever, it takes that time and money. So yes, I agree with you. There should be some perhaps level of this, but we want to be careful because I'm not sure we'll get that.
Yeah. So then maybe almost like tiers of an LUC.
And I like that kind of suggestion. I agree with you. I'm just not sure the town is going to, their argument, rightly so, was if you give them a form, it costs money to do the form. So.
Yeah, that makes sense. Because we could even tie in like the change of property use as a different tier to the land use clearance form. This is tier 1, just an LUC is tier 2. If your LUC also requires a building permit, it's tier 3.
I totally agree with a presentation like that. And what may make the big difference is, once again, back to whatever happens with our building permit process. Since it may not be the county, since it may be something else, that may be able to be more adjustable. You know, we'll see.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Thanks. Appreciate you guys letting me think that out.
Yeah. Let's all keep thinking on it. Because I think I want to move on to the other part of the agenda, but just noting that here is where I added the language based on what our town attorney recommended, that if we don't require a building permit or an LUC for any construction, remodeling, or moving of a structure on our property less than 200 square feet, that does not require, electrical, plumbing, or inspection. Then I said, please call San Juan County Building Department for questions about what requires electrical, plumbing, or inspection. And then the stuff below it was what we had before. But then I put this note: property owners are still obligated to comply with construction codes, adhere to setbacks and height rules, adhere to zoning use regulations, not engage in unauthorized dwelling use, and not trespass. So unless you have any quick fixes now, maybe we just continue to work on this, and maybe we have a work session too.
Thank you, Amanda. That was really nicely presented.
Yes, agreed. Thank you. I like it.
We're getting really close, so this is exciting and going to be helpful. Okay. Let's move on to new business. Item 5, land use clearance applications. We did not have any. Is anybody aware of any, preliminary requests or anything of that nature? Okay. Then move on to item 6, schedule a work session for the RV ordinance, and maybe the land use clearance building permit form or flow chart. The town has asked that we start working again on the RV ordinance, so I think just good to know they're interested in that. So are folks okay to look at calendars now and pick a work session day?
Totally.
Sounds good.
Okay.
I got just calendar today in front of me.
If we choose to look at next week, it will have to be in the evening. I will be on a mobile unit Monday through Thursday next week, and then out of town Friday to Monday. So if not, Tuesday the 14th is more open.
Not fair having a life, Malia.
Sorry. Just so cool.
Tuesday, Brian, you work, right?
I do. That Tuesday the 14th, I'm not working. I have to find out from my bosses at home which whether we're going to be back. We're traveling that weekend, but we might be back on the 14th if it was later in the day. But I can't tell you right now.
Okay.
Other than that.
What about Friday the 17th? Does that work for folks?
Yes.
Marcia, quit. Oh, you're muted still.
Sorry about that. Okay. On Friday, the 17th, the school is having their emergency drill. I don't know the timing on that, but that will include the community center and stuff. So most likely it's at approximately when school gets out because there are no children at the drill. So if you can do Friday morning, it's possible. And maybe Malia can confirm the use of the community center for the school drill.
Good catch. I don't feel like anyone's reached out to me about it, but that doesn't mean it's not occurring. So
I mean, it's on our calendar for those of us who are volunteers for the school drill. So
oh, okay. Well, I will just put that into the calendar.
I would
So
check.
the morning is
Gary.
open.
You can check with Gary because law enforcement comes into town, and I don't know if they get there early or not. So but they could always meet at the fire station.
Yeah, I think that's usually where they have the
right. The
preliminary
drill,
stuff.
yeah, the drill itself includes the community center, or at least it has in the past, and so.
We could potentially, just to avoid that day, look at the 16th. I'm not available till the evening on that day, though. I'm working too much these next couple of weeks.
Brian, what's your work schedule then?
I'm working Monday through Wednesday on next week. And then the following week, I'm working Wednesday through Friday, and then I'm back to Monday through Wednesday for the rest of the month. So, I know, I'm sorry. I work on Friday only until 4:30, but I guess that's the Friday with the emergency thing.
It's probably, I mean, and that could be done as early as, 3 or 4 o'clock. I don't know. We have to talk to Gary Lichtenstein and just have him tell us the timing. Because then we can.
I'm available. I'm available on Memorial Day. Is anyone else? May 27th.
Yeah, I'm just thinking we might have to schedule a work session without full team capacity.
Yep. I think so. Yeah, May's busy.
So I think we should shoot for the 17th, but see what times. Malia, can you help coordinate that?
I sure will. I'll text Gary now and I'll start getting info on what time the community center is needed and then keep you guys in the loop.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you so much. So there'll be RV and this chart.
The only unfortunate part about that, guys, is that our next P&Z meeting is the 15th and we won't have many answers. But I guess it can't be helped if if people actually have lives. So.
Yeah, unless the 14th works if we want to do something, because if Brian's not available the 17th, he's also not available the 14th. If we want to have some more answers for the next.
I could do the morning of the 14th, actually.
I can do that.
I could do that.
Wait,
yeah,
Brian.
I might also be able to join it if we're driving back. I might be able to join it on the phone too.
Okay. Why don't we do that? What time do folks like that morning?
9 to 11, 10 to 12, which is better?
9 to 11?
Sure, 9 to 11. Okay.
That works well for the community center because walk-in food pantry gets there around noon, so we can be out of there.
Okay.
Oh, that's right. They're every Tuesday
Mm-hmm.
That means I have to do this agenda soon.
because I have a sign there next Tuesday, and I'm glad you said that because it's on my calendar.
Okay.
9 to 11?
Yeah.
Okay.
At the risk of being defenestrated, I don't know if you can defenestrate virtually. I suppose you could, but I think I should say something. Apparently, town is getting some kind of weird feedback. Has to do with appearances of impropriety, planning and zoning dragging feet when it comes to the RV or situation, and unfortunately, it has to do with me and Marcia because of our connections with Beak. If there's stuff going on at Beak that they're trying to get done before we move, we need to try to move.
Okay, I would like to know what the hell you're talking about because I, first of all, am not associated with Beak.
No, that's through Vaughn.
Vaughn is not even associated with the Beak anymore.
No,
However,
neither am I. But Vaughn was the big wheel for a long time, and I was the
I understand where it comes
Friends
from.
of Cedar Mesa. And so stuff is coming around that Beak is going to try to do some kind of RV situation.
They did an RV.
Huh?
They put in their 2 RV connections.
Right.
And I thought they went to the town for, I'm sorry, Amanda, please go ahead.
Yeah, let me, if I can jump in. I received an email chain last week, and it was the first time I was notified that the Beak is asking for a change to their business license because they want to operate an RV park. And so I was not aware of this until a couple days ago. It sounds to me like the rumor mill is taking action. As anybody would know if they've listened to our meetings and work sessions, we've had a lot on our plate and have not yet had a chance to dig back into the RV ordinance. And as I said earlier in this meeting, we've been asked by the town to re-engage in that, which we are doing. So I think, I hope that addresses concerns of the public.
And the
Thank you,
change to the
Amanda.
business license is not something that we deal with.
It's not. And it's not something we weigh in on either, unless the town, needs us to verify a zoning issue or anything. But
And it
14
stems from
works for me.
it stems from the fact that it's 2 or more RVs. And in this case, it's only 2. So it's 2 or more. That's where that came from.
so, any other questions or concerns there? Okay. Well, sweet. Well, we got our work session, which is before our next meeting, which is awesome. So thank you.
Good job, everybody.
Items for next agenda, I think we'll have, honestly, I think we can have a pretty similar agenda to today's.
Well, because hopefully we'll have some update on LUC and we'll have some update on RVs. So I think those are good things to keep on the agenda.
Let's put sign application form on that because there may be a
Oh,
new
yeah, because they'll have voted.
Right. Yeah. Good one.
Okay. Anything else for that agenda that we know of right now? Okay. Let's move on to our last item, which is other, item 8. And I deeply apologize. I forgot to put an issue on here about the email we got from a member of the public letting us know that the Sinclair K&C gas station installed a new sign that does not appear to be dark sky compliant. I'm not sure of the status of our stay on enforcing signs, the sign ordinance right now, but we certainly do not have a stay on enforcing the outdoor lighting ordinance. So, does anybody have any recommendations? This comes back to our enforcement question. Marcia.
I just want to back up one thought, and that is today, I we got the letter from someone in the public saying that the sign, it's the sign over the pumps and that it's brightly shining now. And I don't see it at night, so I didn't know. So this afternoon, when I realized that we had forgotten this and we're going to talk about it under other, I ran down there to ask Vance if he could just tell me what changed, just so I would recognize what the problem might be. And Vance had left for the day, of course, because I thought of it at the end of the day. So here's my suggestion is, yeah, Luann wrote, it's not new. And that's kind of where I was coming from, Luann, was the idea that I didn't think anything had changed. But the question is, did something get repaired or lit up or fixed in such a way that it's different now that it's all cleaned up? So my suggestion is I would like to invite Vance, or however you'd like to do this, to get an answer to, could you please tell us what the condition is of the sign above your fuel tanks? And that will tell us, oh, it just got plugged in again, or, oh, it's not new, or it is. And that will help us determine if we're talking, somebody snuck a new sign connection, or it is the existing sign. That would help me. Thank you.
Sounds good.
Okay, I like that idea. I can
So,
reach out to Vance.
Just invite him, put the sign on as an actual agenda item so that we can ask Vance to please
Yes.
answer.
Yeah, okay. Perfect. All right. Anything else under other? Nope. All righty.
motion to adjourn.
So moved.
All right,
Second,
Ed was the second. Any, no.
Ed made the motion. I seconded, but
Okay. Malia also.
whatever.
We'll give it to Ed and then Malia. Or
Okay.
then,
Oh, ladies first.
Very
okay.
chivalrous.
All right. All
None
in
of this
favor
age
of the
before
motion, say
beauty
aye.
stuff.
By the way,
Aye.
by the way, Ed, defenestration comes differently when you're talking about windows on Zoom. So we can throw you off the window of Zoom just by clicking you off somewhere.
And there is a window behind me.
Yeah, well, it's
Right.
not as painful as defenestration.
I think on Zoom it's called depixelation.
Ah,
It's a very different process.
It is, Ed, it is one of my favorite verbs. So thank you for.
Oh, it's as
for
a
using that.
as a nurse, I have to say I love that. I have to agree with you, Amanda. That is one of my favorite words.
Really? That's great.
Yep.
And pixelated has a lot to do with an old movie.
All right.
Okay,
Good night,
meeting
everybody.
adjourned at 6:56. Thank you, everybody.
All righty.